And welcome back to the Oklahoman Video Studios. Dave Morris alongside Garrett Starks. He's a gentleman involved in the music industry and has a studio in the Del City area called Castle Rose Studios. Thanks for stopping by this afternoon. We appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for stopping by for this print interview, right?
Right.
You're like, hey, I'm coming to a newspaper. This has got to be for print, right?
Right.
What are these cameras for?
Yeah, definitely.
You know, one of the things we like to have about the street side studio here downtown is to showcase stuff that's going on in the community. Talk with people who are moving and shaking, doing things, have ideas, dreams, goals, or just involved in something cool, which you are in the music space with this Castle Rose Studios. First of all, tell me about Castle Rose Studios. What is it?
Well, we are a 3-studio facility. It kind of grew as we were building it.
And this is a music studio,
yeah,
not like a video production studio where, although I'm sure you could, looking at it, it looks like a TV studio, to be honest.
Well, we actually do have one of our good friends and partners, Keaton Nye. He has a little video production suite there.
So he's taking advantage of the space.
Oh yeah. So he actually he does a lot of location shoots, but he's also right there. So anytime we want to shoot, behind the scenes at the studio, we want to do kind of an in-depth look for an artist, so they can show their fans what they're doing in the record-making process. He's there.
And so you see so many local musicians right now, they have music videos that they're throwing out there on social media along with their SoundCloud clips, files. It makes perfect sense. We're looking at some B-roll, and you guys have some fantastic, pretty B-roll of your studios. We should say that you are one of the owners along with your wife, is that correct?
Yes. She couldn't make it today. But.
Got it. So back to the original question of Castle Rose Studios, 3 studios.
Yes. So it actually started, she and I had run a small project studio in our house. And we had a little one at the time. So we were kind of learning the dynamic between having a newborn and recording drums in the same place. And as you can imagine, it didn't really work out all that well. But basically, I mean,
but the newborn has rhythm.
Yeah. Oh no, she's great, and she loves to dance, and she's got it. So yeah, I think that had a little something to do with it. But yeah, no, I mean, basically, our studio had overtaken most of our house because we just kept kind of expanding and working on bigger projects, and so the living room became a tracking room. And we had this big vaulted ceiling, so it was cool. And we kind of did that, but we needed to expand, right? We needed to do something proper. I personally had been working in New York for a bit, doing some film scoring projects and working on a lot of orchestral stuff and big theaters. I always liked really big tracking rooms. I loved a big live room, the way it sounded, and so that's what we searched for. We went out and. We came into this thinking, Oklahoma has all these new music venues popping up. We have the new music school. I mean, just everything is just kind of swelling up. And we thought that, the recording scene kind of needed to follow. And so we started looking for buildings and trying to find the right space. Vibe is really important. The way that it feels when you walk in. That's everything to a musician. So, we really, really had to find that building that when you walked in, it just felt right.
And we should say the building is located in Del City at 2908 Epperly Drive in Del City, and it has some history behind it.
Yes. So it's an old movie theater from the 40s. So there's a really cool marquee out front. Really, really cool theater space. So the back part, the theater space, is actually our main tracking room. So that's when I said a big live room. We definitely took advantage of the theater aspect. One, because the acoustics were already a good portion of the way there. I mean, whenever you walk in, it already sounded great to begin with. So everything that we did was just kind of bonus. On the acoustic side, just making it better. So we were really, really lucky as far as that goes. But the way that it felt whenever we walked in. We just knew right away, this was it, because it just felt so cool, and you could feel the history, and it had been Bob Wood's place for a long time, and so they had Reba and Vince Gill and Merle Haggard and just everybody.
Some deep Oklahoma music ties.
Yeah, everybody had been in and out of that place, and you could feel it. I mean, you just kind of know. I mean, you walk in and it just feels right.
But also there was some work that went into this. I you guys, George Lang, thanks so much for setting up this interview. But one of the clips that he sent along was, I'm seeing woodwork, installation. It looked like there was some construction that had to happen.
Yeah, basically, the building's really old, so we kind of had to gut it. Even back to pulling new electric service into the building, new lines clear back to the pole. Basically ripped everything back to the slab, and then just kind of started fresh. We wanted to maintain. We tried to maintain the character of everything that was there, but bring it up to modern standard too. And of course code was a big deal.
Code's important.
Yeah, the minor details, right? Safety.
Well, that mixing board looks pretty impressive.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, we the SSL in the A room. We found that one in Seattle. It was in San Francisco prior to that, and to find a board in that condition, that was just so well preserved and had that organic, music life to it, was just amazing. I mean, it was we were thrilled to find it, and so we just we loaded up and we flew out there and we picked it up and brought it back, and it was it's absolutely worth the travel and the time to find it. So. And
the Hammond organ with the Leslie cabinet, that looks pretty authentic.
Yeah. So several of the pieces in the studio.
In fact, there's a story behind that, right?
Yeah. So several of the pieces in the studio came from Reflection Sound in Charlotte.
Okay.
That studio is known for some James Brown records. Did Aerosmith, Whitney Houston, REM, Murmurs. The list goes on. And all of those records were touched with, these pieces that we have. Yeah. They were in the room. They got scuffs from whatever. So definitely a big deal. It was an incredible opportunity that we were even able to, find those pieces and be able to incorporate that into our studio. Because it's just not the same. It's not the same as the new stuff. The new stuff just doesn't do it. It doesn't have that. It doesn't have that feeling.
Now, are you recording to tape?
Yes, we can. We do both. So
digital record and then the tape.
Yeah, digital and the tape.
The real tape just has a different sound to it, right?
Yes. We mostly use it for color and for feel. And so we're 24 track tape ready in both of the big rooms, and it's great. Yeah, it definitely changes things for sure.
My poor journalistic question earlier, when I said there's a story behind that, right? Bruno Mars and the mixing board, right?
Oh no, the organ. We went out to the studio. The studio was closing, and so we went out there and we're just getting everything. We're pulling speakers out of the wall and cables, and we're ripping boards and tossing it in the truck. And Bruno Mars had spoken for the organ prior to us getting there. Well, he had over the phone kind of spoken to it, and we got there, and Steven, the designer, who's a really good friend of ours, was like, hey, do you guys want it? Do you really want it? And we're like, yeah. And he's like, okay, well, you guys tell the moving company to just put it in your truck, and then once it's loaded, I'll call him and say, hey, sorry,
it's gone.
I didn't know.
He's claiming no responsibility.
It's already gone.
He knows nothing.
Yeah, and so we kind of pulled that one out from under him, and that's kind of our claim to fame there. So
that's a good story.
Sorry, not sorry.
All right, so there actually is a talking point here. This Saturday coming up, you guys have an event from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. an open house.
Yes. So we're going to open the doors and be giving tours. So,
this is for anybody, free to the public.
Anybody.
Just, hey, I'm interested in music, or I heard you have a cool space. I always wondered what was in there.
Absolutely. Come in. We're going to, kind of group up in the front lobby, and whenever we get a nice little bundle together, we'll take a tour around. We've got a few tour guides, so we'll circle you around and give you the history and kind of just go over why everything is there and why it matters.
And then Stephen Durr, a Nashville-based studio designer, he helped you out building this, or he helped with the original build, or he was involved in a build somehow?
Yes. So he was the designer of this studio.
So he's going to be on hand from 2 to 4 on Saturday.
Yes. So he's giving a master class that's going to cover, studio design and acoustic construction.
I was about to say, so that's layout, acoustics.
Yeah, and why all of those things are important. It's about an hour long, and then there'll be like questions afterwards, and he's just going to cover basic principles about a lot of the things that most musicians don't understand about studios, and why it's important, why commercial facilities are important, and why the space that you're in is the most important to the outcome of the record, really. So
you've been in this business, you've been in this studio now for a year. Who can use it? Do you ever use it for live performances?
Mm-hmm. Yes, so it's available to anyone.
Okay.
There's no restrictions there, really.
I'm assuming they go to your website, castlerowstudios.com. There's probably booking.
Yeah.
Contact
there's a
info.
little form submission on there. You just fill out the little form, submit it to us, and then we look at it. And what we actually do for projects is, if you're looking to record something, if you're looking to have something done, we'll bring you in free of charge, do a little consult. You'll sit down with one of our guys and find out if we're a good fit for you. If you're not, we'll help you get somewhere else that might be a better fit for you.
That's good. You guys have contacts in the industry here.
Yeah. And so, we're just trying to kind of connect everyone with where they need to be, and get you ultimately what you're looking for. We don't want to try and do something for you that ultimately isn't what you need. So that's something that we do.
The live performances.
The live performance, yes. We have had a few live performances.
Cool.
We will continue to do that. It's a really, really fun space because it's a little more intimate than a typical live setting. The stage is smaller. The standing area is really, really close.
Stage is where that piano is, maybe?
Yes. And then there's a balcony that wraps around. And so everything's really tight and really
nice.
Everything's really close and just like kind of, it feels like the whole place is kind of huddled in around the crowd. And so it's just a really cool experience to have a performance there. It's awesome. It's just a blast.
Oklahoma City in this area is a huge, really, really good music community. A lot of good musicians. Is there demand? Is there a growing demand for studios?
Absolutely. We see it every day where a lot of these musicians, everyone's needing to compete, to get ahead, and so they're constantly increasing their demand for not only the need to record their music, but the quality of that recording. And so, a lot of these bands are flying to LA and they are having to stay out there for a month. They're having to get an apartment and live out of state just to make a record. And so we're kind of trying to cut that need and say, hey, we can do it here. You can get the same product here, and you don't need to do all of this extra work, to make your record. You can still sleep in your bed at night and be at home and be comfortable, come to the studio and make it happen. So
what's next for you in Ashton?
Yeah, that's the big question. I don't know. We've been looking a lot at what we can do, specifically with the studio. What we can do to expand. Maybe our artist development or a small label, and just trying to kind of encompass everybody and just try to get. We see a lot of artists who don't have any availability at all to recording because they can't afford it. It can be a daunting process to begin with, and then you figure out how to pay for it is a whole other animal. And so we would love to be able to eventually get to a point where we can go out and find talent and be able to bring them in and give them an opportunity that they otherwise wouldn't have.
Now, you mentioned the process and sessions. Recording a song, recording an album takes a while. So being able to stay locally, sleep in your own bed, that's no small thing. That's a pretty big deal.
No, it's huge. An independent record takes a month, sometimes two, right? And the label records take 2 years.
Well,
so,
sure, yeah.
And so it's a huge process. It's much bigger than most people expect. And so, yeah, for an independent band around here, for them to have to go 2,000 miles away to make a record is it's big. It's a really big deal. So you know, the ability that we have, you know, to keep that here is definitely a game changer for those guys.
He's Garrett Starks. Garrett and Ashton will be hosting a open house 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. this Saturday at Castle Row Studios. Again, that's at 2908 Epperly Drive in Del City. More information, I can't even speak at the end of this interview. More information can be found at castlerowstudios.com. Garrett, congratulations on 1 year. Great to meet you. I've enjoyed the conversation.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
All right.